Alright, so I've gotten my kitchen ready for breakfast, and I'm going to heat up some oatmeal. I'm going to cut up some watermelon, chocolate that, add powdered chocolate to the watermelon, and I'm going to have some iced tea. So I'm going to shift the camera downwards so that you can see what I'm doing here. Alright, for the oatmeal, I could just eat this oatmeal the way it is. Again, I cooked this in the roaster oven, the electric, kind of like the big crock pot, the big rectangular crock pot. I could just eat it the way that it is here, but it's really better when it's warm. This has been in the fridge for a long time, for about 4 days now. And so I'm just going to, actually if I put it right in there and then I slice it through. I want to make it easier for the steam to cook this, so I'm just kind of breaking it up a little bit. Oatmeal, if you're just using dried oatmeal as opposed to pre-cooked, like I've already pre-cooked this, if it wasn't pre-cooked, I would have to monitor the oatmeal much more than just reheating it. So monitoring the oatmeal becomes kind of a hassle in the morning if you have to do it every morning that you're having oatmeal. So I'm adding water to the oatmeal. That's actually a little bit too much, but so it'll be a little watery. I could dump it out. You know what? I'll get rid of just a tad of water. There. That should be perfect. So I've added water to that oatmeal. Now I'm just going to turn it on low. Oops, wrong one. Burner's on. It's on low. Covering it up, and that's going to slowly steam it so that it's a better texture. Now I'm going to do I keep 2 batches of iced tea. I make one batch as caffeinated, that's this, because it's early morning. It's 10, it's not really early morning, it's 10:45 right now. Like I said, I had laid in bed kind of paralyzed or emotionally paralyzed for about an hour. So anyhow, there is my caffeinated iced tea, and I might have 2 cups like that this morning, maybe 3 even. Definitely, if you spill iced tea on a countertop, definitely clean that up quickly, because if you don't and the iced tea dries, the tannins from the iced tea can stain your countertop. Maybe you can see, maybe you can't, but there's a good chance that I'm going to end up paying some kind of a penalty for some of these little stains that I have on my countertop here, because I didn't realize I had to clean those up almost instant. Well, I didn't realize that if you let them dry, they don't clean up. So maybe I'll be able to figure something out as to how to get some of these stains out, but it's possible I'm going to end up paying some kind of a fee for this stained countertop. So anyhow, that's caffeinated iced tea. Pulling out the watermelon. I think I can still go one more. I'm not going to eat all of this watermelon in this round, so I'm going to go ahead and slice it. I'm trying to stay level. I think a bigger knife, I think a wider knife, a knife that's more in this direction, will help me do this in the future. So in a future video, it's very likely I'm going to be using a different knife. But for right now, this is what I've got. This is what I'm using. So, oh yeah, that fits beautifully. Okay, so this is what I'm going to eat. That's where it's going to go. Come on. Okay. There we go. Now I'm just going to cube it. What's a cubit? Any Bill Cosby fans out there? Oh, and I like the seed, the seeded watermelon more than the unseeded, and here's why. I read a book. I was really, really impressed with the book called Superfoods by Dr. Stephen Pratt. And in that book, it explained that the watermelon seeds are good for the heart. So I don't pull them out, I just eat them. I crunch them with my teeth and I eat them. It's very likely that our ancestors used to eat those seeds and they got benefit from it, obviously, and it seems that research has shown that those seeds are good for our hearts. It's good for heart health. So when I have the choice between seeded or unseeded watermelon, I always buy the seeded, because unless the price was hugely different and in the favor of the unseeded, but even then I do what I could to afford the seeded, because for one, it's healthier for me, and for two, it sends a message to the supermarket that says, if you will bring me seeded watermelon, I will buy seeded watermelon. Because I think a lot of stores don't even stock seeded watermelon because they think everybody's going to prefer unseeded. And so when I see it, I like to send the right message to that market, to that store. So basically I'm going to be mixing this up. I can see there's no steam here yet, so that's definitely not ready yet. You know what? Here. There's more watermelon in this rind that I can get access to by flipping it over. So while the oatmeal continues to reheat, I should say, I'll go ahead and I'll get this watermelon. You know what? A little bit of that white part of the rind, probably not a bad thing, especially for guys. Right now I'm not going to go out of my way to get any of it. Right now I don't have much use for it. And guys, if you know what the watermelon rind is good for, you might have an idea what I'm talking about there. I should say that I really, really do appreciate any time that anyone is taking to watch these videos, because I know that I do not edit these videos, and at least not yet. I intend to eventually. Right now, survival financial survival is my goal, and the thought of sitting at a library editing videos just does not appeal to me. And I would be doing it at the library because my computer got fried. My computer got fried during a power surge, or like a half a second brownout. It was nearly instantaneous, but in this apartment complex at about 11 o'clock, there's often a switchover. I believe it's a switchover from one. Let's do this. At about 11 o'clock every morning, or many mornings here at this apartment complex, there seems to be a power switchover from one power source to another power source by the utility provider. And it takes about I'm going to guesstimate that it's half a second. It might be less than that. It might be a little more. Whatever it is, it was enough to kill my computer. And my computer had been protected by a Line Interactive uninterruptible power source, which is kind of a misnomer because it's not truly uninterruptible. On a Line Interactive, which is a mid-quality classification, in other words, you've got a low quality, which is just backup, then you've got a mid-quality, which is Line Interactive, and then you've got high quality, which is online. The difference is Line Interactive takes a small chunk of time to switch from your normal power source to the battery backup power source. So there will be, you'll have your power, then there will be a dip in the power while it switches, and then it'll bring the power back up for you. That's Line Interactive. Online instead does this. You're always connected to your emergency power source, but your emergency power source is always being recharged by the utility company. So since you're always using the circuitry that you will be using in an emergency, well, let's back up. In the Line Interactive, you only have enough battery power to get you through maybe 15 minutes or so, depending on your battery size. I'm going to say that the vast majority, an average might be somewhere between 5 minutes to 15 minutes that you have enough battery power to supply power to your computer. So since it's only going to be running for a fraction of an hour, it doesn't need to dissipate heat as thoroughly as something that's going to be running 24 hours a day, each day. So there's expense in terms of heat dissipation, and there's probably other expenses too for an online system, which generally tends to be larger and more expensive. Well, I now have an online uninterruptible power source, and I will be trying to revive my computer, but right now I don't actually have a computer that does anything other than tries to boot but fails to boot. So that's part of the reason why all of my editing would be done at the library, and the hours that the library is open are excellent hours to do other things like work on my LinkedIn account. Whereas if I had my computer here at home, the hours that I could sit working on it would be hours that I could work half tired. So they're not as productive hours, and so doing something like editing, I think, would fit there. But there is a difference between Line Interactive and online. In my opinion, an online uninterruptible power source would have saved would have adequately protected my computer from what happened roughly a week or two ago that killed my computer. Whereas the Line Interactive, I just want to make sure I said this right, an online uninterruptible power source would have adequately, I feel, protected my computer. I feel it would have adequately protected my computer from what happened. But the Line Interactive uninterruptible power source, which I had it protected with, obviously failed to provide adequate protection to my computer during what happened. That's what I'm trying to say. If you have your druthers, if you can choose an online, if you can afford it, even if you can't afford it, it might be worthwhile waiting until you can afford an online uninterruptible power source and simply not plugging your computer into your utility company and maybe using a library instead for the period until you can afford an online uninterruptible power source. I'm going to show you the oatmeal, the way that it's reheated. I have not had to lift that cover whatsoever, whereas if I had been cooking this, I would have had to constantly been making sure that this doesn't boil over. But because all I'm doing is reheating it and steaming it to make it more palatable, I didn't have to mess with it. It was doing its own thing in the background while I was talking with you on the camera. So I can go ahead and turn off the burner. I might add just a little bit of water to get that singe stuff out. But honestly, this was way, way, way more convenient than trying to cook it from a dry state this morning. In other words, having it pre-made and then reheating it is far simpler than cooking it from scratch every morning. And even if I had been in a huge rush to get things going this morning, I could have eaten this cold and still gotten excellent nutrition from it. So there's significant advantage to cooking large batches and then refrigerating it. That's what I'm trying to get at. Even if you do choose to reheat it, there's still significant advantages to having it pre-made, pre-cooked in your refrigerator, and it's so easy to pre-make. And my other videos, in one of my other videos, I show how to pre-make it. That's it. I'm gonna turn off the camera, and I hope you have a good day. I hope I have a productive day, because I really want to get my LinkedIn account ready for potential employers to see, because next week I hope to be submitting my resume and links to where they can find my LinkedIn account, mentions of my website for the small business, actually mentioning the small business, and then they can, if they want to find the website, they can find it. So that's what I've got planned for today. This is basically an update, because I think it's been about a week since I've really posted anything, maybe even more than a week. I hope you have a good day. Bye.